Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch. Let's talk Tritium. Over the course of 2017, 18, 19 and 20, I reviewed precisely one watch with tritium tubes on the dial and the hands. This year so far I've looked at two. I have looked at a marathon and a ball. Today I'm going to double that tally to 4 with a 2-for-1 deal. What's going on? Has my love for lume blinded me to the obvious advantages and benefits of tritium? Or do I love lume precisely because there is just no decent, affordable, everyday tritium on the market? Ball watches are great, but they tend to be $1,000 plus. Night I'm aware of, marathon obviously I have reviewed, but they are, I think, a little too tactical for everyday use. Am I chasing unicorns, or do you know of what I'm looking for? Some affordable everyday tritium. If you do, please leave me a link, leave me a comment. I would love to add a few more tritium pieces for review over the course of 2021. Now you saw the pop-up, I'm sure. These two watches were sent to me for free by a website called GRMONTRE. GRMONTRE? I don't know. They sell a whole bunch of budget watch brands. The one I was interested in though is Yelang. Yelang, on paper at least, seems to be what I'm looking for. Affordable everyday tritium, the right specs, the right prices. Now, just because I get a free watch does not mean to say the watch gets a free ride, and indeed I'm going to complain about both of these today. I only picked one, but they sent me two, and somewhat ironically it's the one that I didn't ask for that I found myself wearing the most. These are not going to be for everybody, but if the circumstances are correct, I could see a cheap tritium tube watch fitting very nicely into people's collections. Let's flip the camera and have a look at them. Alright, two watches, one video. Let's see if I can do it in about 10 minutes. Let's crack on. This was the one that I actually asked for. It's called the V1020. Now they sell it on their website. They also sell it on AliExpress for less money than on their website. Hey, I'll leave it up to you. I'll leave links to both in the description of the video. A variety of different ones available. $215 on the bracelet, $199 on the leather strap. I would be going for the leather strap version, as I will explain later on in the video. A couple of different dial colours and 3 different colours of tritium, either blue, green or yellow tritium, so you're not short of options. Now this is the one that I didn't ask for. This is the pilot style. They call it a V1021. These are $169 on their website if you really want to, or they're $135 on AliExpress, regardless of whether you go for the bracelet or whether you go for the leather strap. Again, I would be opting for the leather strap, as will become clear. A couple of different colours, PVD possibilities, and also 3 different types of tritium tubes also available. Alright, let's cut straight to the money shot. If you're interested in these tritium watches or any other tritium watches, this is why you're interested. Unparalleled after dark legibility. Auto on the left, quartz on the right, trusty Seiko SKX as the reference, as the benchmark in the middle. Now, both of these Yelangs feature tritium T100 tubes, which are the brightest that you can get on the market currently. Initially though, the Seiko looks like it has the measure of them. That's the beauty of Seiko's Lume Bright, a well-known, well-respected lume. If I turn the speed up though, once we get towards halfway, it is obvious where this competition is going. The Seiko is beginning to fade. The two tritium tube watches are just coming into their own. At the end of the 20-minute test period, the Seiko lume, it's still there, but it has faded to below the level of the two tritium tube watches. These tritium tube watches will glow for years and years and years with this level of intensity. And do not worry about radioactivity. The tritium never leaves the little glass tubes that contain it. Let's have a look at the auto then, and I hope that the specs will explain why I picked this one, why I thought it was cheap everyday tritium, or at least had the potential to be. 42.5mm in diameter, 12.8mm thick, 47 lug to lug, 21mm lug width. Both of these watches have 21mm lugs. Odd, not as good as even. Tapering down to 19, back up to 20 at the clasp. Sized up for me, 158 grams. All stainless steel case, fixed bezel. It's a kind of PVD or DLC coating on that fixed bezel. We have a screw down crown here, 100 meters of water resistance and a screw down crown. Mixture of brushed and bead blasted finishes on the upper surfaces of the watch, depending on where we're talking about. Day date complication, thanks to the Seiko NH36 everyday watch. day date is definitely a bit of a bonus there. Now the bracelet has solid end links, solid links, just push pins, but I'm not going to complain at the price. It is, however, a pretty crappy clasp with the Yelang logo there stamped into it. We all know though you can buy these clasps. 18mm will fit this watch, 18mm spring bars inside it anyway, for around $8 on AliExpress with a mil clasp if it is a bit of an issue for you. Flat sapphire crystal, I don't think there's any anti-reflective undercoating on there. No, you can see so much bounce back from my studio lights that suggests no AR coating, but hey, sapphire, day date, Seiko, 100 meters of water resistance, all stainless steel, fairly solid at 160 grams. I can definitely see this one lasting the course of a few years of daily wear as well. The dial is a little busy, but I don't think it's unattractive. The Yelang logo, perhaps there's a bit too much going on there though. There's a shield with a wolf's head in it, there's a star, there's wings, there's double Yelang branding. Maybe they could have toned that one down just a little bit. I quite like the kind of race car style 02040, etc. Arabics printed inboard of those big tritium tubes, but the big tritium tubes really are the star of the show. Batons everywhere, all the same size apart from a smaller one at the 3 o'clock to make way for that day date complication. Large white sword hands again with lengthy tritium tubes running all the way up and down them, and it's a paddle second hand with a little red tip, the only colour on the dial here, also with a tritium tube, which is nice to see. Perhaps slightly over branded as discussed with the big logo, followed by more Yelang branding, followed by Exquisite Automatic 24J and 330 feet 110 meters just printed on. Look, it's not going to win any design awards, but I don't hate it, put it that way. And on wrist it actually wears quite well, 42 and a bit with those protruding mid links of the end links being, I guess they're hedging their bets. I've got a 7-inch wrist, it fits me well, I guess it's going to fit most people well. Reasonably balanced, an extra couple of grams if you do swap that clasp out though will definitely help matters. General daytime legibility is actually pretty good from this one despite the lack of anti-reflective coating on that sapphire crystal. Big white sword hands, very legible against the black dial, and printed white surrounds to those tritium tubes mean you always know where the indexes are on this one also. Outside natural light it retains a reasonable degree of legibility despite some bounce back from the sapphire crystal. On wrist it's a fairly comfortable watch if you were wearing this one as a daily. 160 grams though, it's maybe 10 to 15 grams heavier than I would have liked it to be. And the watch is perhaps not quite as attractive as I would have liked it to be either. Like I said, I don't think it's a horror show on the dial and handset, maybe a little busy, but all nice and legible. I can cope with that fixed bezel as well. The case though, I think they have just gone a bit too far with this one. I would love them to clean it up, offer a more simple version of this kind of dial and hand layout with the screw down crown, 100 meters sapphire NH36. I think it would be a better all day everyday watch if they just toned it down a little bit. The clasp, as I said, that's a bit of a cheap corner cutting exercise there. But my biggest complaint here is that effectively you only have one hole. You have 0 micro adjusts. Allow me to explain. Sure, the clasp has 3 holes of micro adjust. I've seen dozens of this style before and I'm sure you have too. But look at that, there's a little shoulder, there's a little flare out on that end link, meaning you can only use the first of those 3 holes. It will not go any further into the clasp. Those 2 are effectively redundant, meaning it's very, very hit or miss in terms of sizing. I've no idea what they were thinking of. So maybe a C+, B- at a push for this one. All the right specs and it's nicely made. It feels solid but could do with a bit of simplification and a couple of issues with the bracelet. 21mm lug width mean you're going to be struggling to have a replacement leather strap or NATO or whatever in your watch box. Unless, of course, you have an Orient Bambino lying around and have been buying straps for that one. So the bottom line is, I am still chasing the unicorn. I'm still looking for an affordable, wearable, everyday, good value tritium tube watch. What about the pilot's watch then? I said I had been wearing this one and I have worn this watch for many, many hours over the last couple of months since it arrived and went into the queue for review, but only under very specific circumstances, as I shall explain. They call it a pilot's watch. I guess it is. It's got that triangle at 12 Arabics and then inner Arabics with 13 to 24, but a lot of hash marks around the outer edges and are further rehaut with the 5-minute marker Arabics on there as well, kind of diluting the overall message. Handset not particularly piloty, if you see what I mean either. 42mm in diameter this one, 11mm thick, but 50.5 lug to lug. Again, that awkward 21mm lug width, down to 19, back up to 20, and 147 grams on the supplied bracelet, sized up for my 7-inch wrist. 100 meters of water resistance, screw down crown with this one, flat sapphire, again no anti-reflective coating there. Ronda Swiss quartz movement, 3-hand plus date. Now they quote a 10-year battery life on this one. I'm not sure about that. I haven't been aware of a Ronda Swiss quartz movement that has a 10-year battery interval. If you know the model number, please leave me a comment. I'm just being lazy. I could always pop the back off of this one if I was interested. Screw down stainless steel case back with a plane there, just in case you didn't think it was a pilot's watch. Bracelet is exactly the same as the other watch, but has been PVD coated. So again, it's a single link trying to look like a 5-link. It's got the same cheap press clasp, and also it has the same issues with micro adjust. You can't use more than the one, so it effectively has no adjustment whatsoever. So that again is my biggest complaint about this one. Dial on hands, again, not unattractive, but again, not particularly attractive. It is looking a little bit busy when you get to the outer edges of this one. I think they could have easily deleted the 2 white markers either side of those tritium tubes. It would have looked cleaner and they wouldn't have lost any legibility in doing so. Date complication at the 3 o'clock. I'm not bothered that it's white because it's a budget watch, and it does balance out the 9 numeral over at the 9 o'clock side of the watch. The handset's not unattractive, perhaps just not quite in keeping with this style of aviator watch. Skeletonized with big tritium tubes on the end. No tritium on the second hand of this one, but you do get a touch of colour in the form of that yellow tip. Handset's always a difficulty with tritium. It's hard to design an elegant set of hands when you have to slap a big dirty tube down the middle of them. It wears okay on the bracelet in spite of that relatively long lug to lug and that protruding first mid link of the end link. At least it does point down quite dramatically, helping it hug my wrist. Overhead legibility is also pretty good on this one. I think the PVD case coating also helps with that, really enhancing the white hands and those white Arabics. It's a similar story as the Auto when I get it outside as well. It's still pretty legible, but with bounce back because of the lack of anti-reflective coating and that flat sapphire crystal. Now 50-51 lug to lug is normally a little larger than I would wear, and indeed I haven't actually been wearing this one on the bracelet. I've been wearing it on a non-colour matched, non-sized matched 22mm cheapest chips $5 Perlon as my bed watch. I reckon 50% of the people watching this video will take their timepieces off at night, 40% will keep them on, and a further 10% will swap to a more suitable nighttime watch. I know if I'm wearing my Seagull 63 during the day, for example, which doesn't have lume, I'll swap to a Casio Digital or something that's nice and light and has a big push button LED, or one of these. This one, quartz, massively legible after dark, and if you put it on a light Perlon strap, it takes it down to 70 grams, so it's not weighing you down at night either. So as I said, it is very circumstance dependent. It is quite specific. If you're the type of person who wears a watch after dark, if you're in a routine of putting a specific watch on after dark, perhaps because it has good nighttime legibility, perhaps you should consider one of these quartz tritium tubed watches. I would love to see Yelang do this one, but slightly smaller, perhaps slightly lighter, ditch the bracelet on a leather strap or a Perlon. Doesn't even need to have much water resistance. Quartz, it's going to be ticking for a number of years accurately. It's a great bedside table watch. Really, I'm all about the tritium tubes, and the tritium tubes on this one are absolutely outstanding. So the two watches overall then, I can't really knock the build quality, and they're well priced overall. Perhaps not quite as attractive as they could have been. They could both be simplified, but that doesn't seem to be the Yelang way, does it? However, this one will be staying with me. Definite bedside table watch, definite nighttime watch, and I will be continuing my quest for more tritium. So there you have it, Yelang tritium tubed watches from GRMONTRE. I can't really knock them for build quality. I think they're both solidly made and well spec'd for the price. Prices are also pretty good. $150 if you opt for the leather strap quartz, and under $250 if you opt for the braceleted version with the 100 meters of water resistance and the NH36. Stylistically though, I'm not sure if either of these watches float my boat. I would love to see them bring out a cheaper quartz, something around $100 US with those T100 tubes, pretty plain design. that would be a fabulous nighttime watch if you wear a watch after dark. Thank you for watching. I will see you all in a future video.